What if I told you that this Swedish mall cop now spends his days sailing across the sea on his multi-million-dollar yacht, trading from his laptop, making over 8 figures per year, and is reportedly worth over $300 million. And then I'm also going to attempt to copy his exact strategy with $10,000 to see if anyone can really make this a reality. Meet Kristjan, a wildly successful stock trader who started from humble beginnings. He began his career day trading in 2011 at the age of 23 while also working as a part-time mall cop. In the first 2 years of his career, Kristjan blew up his account 3 to 4 times, but he didn't give up, and in 2013, Kristjan began learning about swing trading, and that's where everything changed. Compared to day trading, where you're quickly in and out of the market within the same day, swing trading is when you buy a stock with the intention of holding it for anywhere between a few days to a few months. Kristjan found mentors along the way and credits much of his success to swing trading legends Dan Zanger, Pradeep Bond, and Jesse Livermore. After studying thousands of charts of the biggest movers in history, Kristjan began to notice a pattern that would reoccur almost every single time a stock would make a massive move higher. These patterns would usually occur on the daily to weekly time frames and would offer far bigger moves than what Kristjan could find day trading. After building a strategy around this pattern, Kristjan finally managed to become profitable. And that's putting it lightly. Over the next 10 years, Kristjan would manage to turn his small trading account of just a few $1,000s into a mind-blowing $82 million as of 2021. He even goes as far as comparing trading to playing a video game. So, what is this elusive pattern? And can anyone make millions if they learn it? These are the questions that I needed the answer to, and I intended on finding out. Over the next few weeks, I made it my mission to learn Kristjan's secrets to see if I can copy his exact strategy in hopes that I too can make millions. But before all that, there may be one question on your mind. How do we know he's real? After all, the internet has no shortage of fake trading gurus who spout equally as compelling stories and are willing to teach you for the low price of just $1,997. Well, that was the first green flag. Kristjan sells absolutely nothing. No signal service, no chat room, and no course. So this was a good start, but it's still not undeniable proof, right? Maybe he likes the attention. Maybe he gets a thrill from lying. Who knows? My research continued, and to my dismay, I found something shocking. A Twitter account that goes by Guru Leaks posted a picture of Kristjan's laptop, and in the top of his screen, we see that he's using a paper trading account. If you don't know, this basically means that Kristjan is using fake money to trade with. So, was everything a lie? Was he really just another fake guru? No. In fact, this is one of the first questions that Kristjan addresses in his FAQ on his website. Kristjan uses 2 different platforms, one for analyzing his charts and one for taking his trades. What we see on this screen is his charting software, not his brokerage account. Okay, but still, not concrete evidence, right? Well, that's where Sweden comes in. Fortunately for us, taxpayer information is public, which means we can see exactly how much some of the top earners in Sweden make. And lo and behold, Kristjan was in the top 15 of the 100 highest earners in Sweden. Even more shockingly, it's reported that Kristjan made an unbelievable $360 million in 2021. This means Kristjan managed to quadruple his already massive trading account of $82 million to $360 million in just 1 year. So not only is Kristjan the real deal, with returns like these, it could be argued that he's probably one of the best traders on the planet. And what's even crazier is that he gives his strategy away, all for free. So, what is the strategy? I'm glad you asked. The basis for Kristjan's strategy is trading what's called a high-tight flag pattern. This is basically when the chart makes a big move higher, then begins to coil into a tight range. Think of it like a spring winding up. Once that spring finally releases its pent-up energy, it explodes upwards. Well, the same thing can be applied here. Once that stock breaks out of its range, it can lead to some explosive moves higher. Kristjan capitalizes on this fact and looks to buy just as price is beginning to break out of that range. So that's a general explanation. Now let's look at his exact rules. Rule number 1, a big move higher between 30 to 100% within the past 1 to 3 months. Rule number 2, an orderly pullback to the 10 and 20-day moving averages, then consolidating with higher lows and a tightening range. This consolidation can usually last between 2 weeks to 2 months. Number 3, the breakout. Buy when price begins to exit its price range. After 3 to 5 days, look to sell half the position for a profit and place your stop loss to break even. Don't sell the rest of the position until price closes below the 10-day moving average. Luckily for us, he also provides examples of the exact pattern he trades here, here, and here. He also states that if price breaks below the low of the day on the day you entered, you must exit for a loss. Now that I knew the rules, it was time to get to work. First things first, I needed a way to find the exact stocks that fit the specific criteria that Kristjan outlines. To do this, I used a stock screener called FinViz. So all I had to do was tell the screener to search for stocks that were up at least 30% in the last 3 months, and then scan the charts for a high tight flag pattern. After scanning dozens of stocks, I picked a few that I felt matched the criteria the best: LUXH, RIOT, and Loop. For analyzing charts, I used TradingView.com, and for trading, I used Robinhood and Femex.
But Corey, isn't Femex a crypto trading platform?
Yes, it is, and you'll see why I used it later. My first trade was made on LUXH. What the company does and things like how profitable it is don't really matter, because Kristjan seems to mostly rely on analyzing the chart itself rather than the company's fundamentals. All I knew was that this stock was up nearly 100% in roughly the past 3 months, with a tightening range and higher lows. So with this in mind, I was ready to take my first trade. I had already identified the flag pattern, and now all that was left to do was wait. And then it happened. LUXH began to seemingly break out of its highs around $3.20, and I immediately placed an order to buy at $3.25. I figured placing my order 5 cents above the highs would give me a better chance of buying when the stock is actually breaking out, rather than just kind of retesting those highs and coming right back down. I waited with anticipation. LUXH inched higher to $3.20. This was the moment I had been waiting for. But then LUXH dumped lower. And so the waiting game continued. The market opened and I was ready. LUXH was once again trading near the $3.20 area, and I placed an order to again buy at $3.25. And at 1:20 p.m., it finally happened. For real this time. Now really quickly, before I show you the results, I do have to tell you guys about this amazing opportunity for those of you that trade crypto and want to potentially make some money. As I'm sure many of you guys are aware by now, a lot of crypto exchanges are getting really strict on their KYC verification process, like Bybit for example, which means that if you're trading in the US, your options are becoming really limited. But luckily for us US traders, Femex is completely available to us. And for this video, they told me that I could give away a few of their brand new Soul Passes. This Soul Pass is basically an NFT that you can't sell whatsoever, but it grants you access to a bunch of different benefits. And the biggest benefit that this Soul Pass offers, which I'm super excited about, is that it allows you to mine their new PT token. So as you guys know, a lot of exchanges offer their own tokens, but Femex is just now coming out with their own, and you can have the chance to be extremely early to this token. So not everyone can mine these tokens, only those that hold a Soul Pass. So if you want a Soul Pass, or if you just want to trade with Femex, which I am now personally doing, make sure to leave a comment and I'll make sure to give away 3 Soul Passes to 3 commenters down below. LUXH broke out from the flag pattern and my order to buy at $3.25 was finally executed. But the work wasn't over yet. I still had to manage my risk and use a stop loss. For this, Kristjan recommends placing your stop loss just below the low of the trading day that you enter on, and to make sure that this stop loss does not equal more than 1% of your total account size. But just for entertainment's sake, I decided to risk 3% of my $10,000 account size, or just about $300 per trade. So following Kristjan's rules, I placed my stop loss below the low of the day around $2.99. Now I could sit back and relax and know that even if price decided to go lower, I wouldn't lose more than $300. And then, almost like magic, LUXH took off. I watched it as it slowly but surely climbed higher to $3.30, then $3.40, and finally finishing the day at $3.50, which meant that I was now sitting at a profit of $300. So I was already in one trade, but why stop there? I still had 2 other stocks on my radar, RIOT and Loop. So as my LUX trade did its thing, I decided to pivot my attention to the other 2 stocks. Just like LUXH, RIOT was a stock that was up massively in the last 3 months, pulled back, and began forming the flag pattern we wanted to see. By now you get the gist of the rules, so I won't bore you with the detail. I ended up buying RIOT just as it broke out and actually finished the day up $84. Meanwhile, LUXH also had another big day, this time closing at $3.75, meaning I was now up a whopping $600 on one trade. And if you add that to the RIOT trade, I was now up over $680 in just a few days. I was ecstatic. It almost felt like it was easy. Had I really discovered the ultimate trading strategy? Well, little did I know, things were about to take a turn for the worst. On day 4, I took my 3rd trade in a row on Loop. Again, this was a stock that had jumped 100% in just a couple of months and began to form the flag pattern. When the market opened, Loop immediately began to break out from its range, and I bought around $3.20. Well, unfortunately for me, this ended up being the exact top. Loop immediately dumped down to $3, and because the breakout had happened as soon as the market opened, rather than later in the day, my stop loss was basically instantly hit for a $300 loss. Well, by the end of the day, RIOT also tanked, finishing the day around $11.28, which meant that my $84 profit had now turned into a $175 loss. Luckily, my LUXH position was still holding up, but also slightly lower, now sitting at a profit of around $468. So after all three stocks had closed, my net profit for the day was sitting at a whopping $7. At this point, I was becoming pretty discouraged. Not only were my dreams of becoming a millionaire trader getting crushed, I was also losing money on top of that. I knew I had to take a step back and reevaluate. And what better way to clear the mind than listening to some smooth jazz? As the smooth jazz calmed my nerves, I began to wonder, where had it all gone wrong? I thought I had followed the rules that would make me a wildly profitable trader, but my performance was anything but. And then I heard him. Kristjan himself was speaking to me.
Like my win rate last year, and I had insane returns last year, was only about 35%. And the year before, 2019, it was 25%. So yeah, you have to get used to get stopped out a lot. And sometimes many times the same day, and many times within a few minutes. That's the name of the game.
The key to Kristjan's strategy is not how often he wins, but how big his winners are. With a win rate of only 30%, his advantage lies in only waiting for the perfect setup that is ready to absolutely explode. And even then, 7 out of 10 times, it's still going to be a loser. But when that winner does come along, the stop loss is so small and the potential for profit is so big that one winner will allow you to 10, even 20x your initial investment, completely wiping out the losses beforehand and even yielding a profit. If I wanted to truly test this strategy out, I had to trade something that moves big and fast. Something that when it does start to move higher, people jump at the chance to buy. Something like crypto. With King Kolamagi enlightening me with his wisdom, I was ready to give this one last shot. Using the built-in TradingView crypto screener, I scavenged for cryptos that had recently moved over 30% in the last week to month. Because crypto for the most part does move a lot faster than stocks, I decided to test this strategy out on a smaller time frame. After a few minutes of searching, I had found a potential candidate. ARPA. On the 30-minute time frame, ARPA was consistently forming higher lows. Not only was it making higher lows, but it was also doing it in a stair-step-like manner. It would move higher, consolidate, break higher again, and so on and so forth. And all while surfing the 10 and 20 moving averages. This was the definition of a strong and momentous uptrend. All that was left to do was once again wait. Sure enough, the time arrived. ARPA began to consolidate and had just finished making a new higher low while also failing to break through its highs of around 7 cents. This formed a decent flag pattern and I was willing to take my chances one last time. I set my order just above the highs at 0.071 and waited patiently. And then something crazy happened. Within just 15 minutes, ARPA exploded to new highs, executing my order. I was in. I immediately placed my stop loss below the day's low, which also happened to be the low of the 1 hour candle I had entered on, giving me a very tight stop loss. Almost effortlessly, ARPA continued to climb and I was up over $850 in just a few hours. But there was a problem. It was now 11 p.m. and I wasn't planning on staying up all night to watch this trade, so I had to go to sleep. So I placed my stop loss at break even and all I could do was pray. I sold half of my position for a $440 profit and went off to bed. So I woke up the following morning and I feared for the worst. This was pretty much my last chance. I turned on my computer and opened TradingView. ARPA had continued to skyrocket overnight, surfing the 10 and 20 moving averages almost perfectly. The remaining half of my position was now up over $1,000. By the end of the day, price had closed below the 10-hour moving average, which according to Kolamagi meant that I could technically sell the rest of my position. At the end of it all, I had made roughly $1,580, or about 15% of my account, in a matter of 24 hours. Subtracting the previous losses, I was now sitting at a total net profit of $1,034, or roughly a 10% gain in a few weeks. Compare that to the average return of the stock market, which is only roughly 8% per year. I can totally see how an absolute master of this strategy, such as Maggie, can manage to quadruple his account on a yearly basis. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash up that like button and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.